Welcome to another episode of The Velvet Hammer.
And here we go.
Okay, we're going to share the secret sauce. It's called the Flim Flam Sauce. Do you know about the Flim Flam Sauce?
Tell me.
The Flim Flam Sauce is like the secret stuff that you go into the kitchen and you cook with, and nobody knows, and you make a delicious little pie or something. But what we're going to talk about the sauce of how to make defense lawyers lose their mind and get under their skin.
Yes, we are.
Okay, let's talk about it.
I just love it so much.
Okay, all right. Okay, what do you do? What do you do?
Well, let me just say, I'll tell some stories because I have a long history of this. There's nothing better than driving a defense lawyer crazy. That is my goal. We were just talking about goals. My goal to have fun in a case is to just get underneath their skins. As much as possible. In fact, I just finished a deposition today. It was on a foster care sex abuse case. And the defense lawyer was being quite polite and everything like that. He's being completely reasonable. Mm-hmm. And I said, objection. And the client said, well, what am I supposed to do? I said, I object because there's something about the question that I didn't like. Or I was just irritated by it. And
what did you do?
And I was irritated because I thought it was a dumb question. And but there's no judge here to rule on it, so you just answer the question. And the defense lawyer, and he says, oh, so I shouldn't answer this question. I said, yeah, this is one of those examples that he was just asking you a really irritating question. And the defense lawyer is just looking at me, and he's pretending to laugh, like, ah. But, I pretty much was irritating the defense lawyer by saying that, because, Or another deposition last week where I told the defense lawyer that her questions were interminable.
What?
During the break. Oh, my God. She spent over an hour asking about, background of an expert.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go way back and tell you a story that kind of illustrates this. And there's so many examples, I can't even choose a couple.
Yeah.
So this is a case of the guy that he was driving in his little 2-seater car, and he was going to go making a left turn with a left arrow, green arrow at an intersection, and a box truck coming the other way went straight through the red light.
Yeah.
And his car went underneath, and he was almost decapitated, but not quite. He ended up not being decapitated, but horribly injured.
Yeah.
And it turned out that the guy driving the box truck, when we later sued him and took his deposition, part of his process of getting ready to drive every morning involved getting up and smoking a bowl of marijuana.
Oh, boy.
Before he went out. So the question was, that's never going to come in, because the defense is going to stipulate that they're liable, which is exactly what they did. Right before trial, they said, okay, we admit liability, so you can't mention the marijuana. However, being the devious attorney that I am, he had told his therapist that when he's driving, our client, he would be very nervous because he was worried that other people would be high from smoking marijuana. So that was in his therapy notes. He was very nervous that people were high or were drunk, that he was going to be hurt again. So he was very worried about that. So Judge Gonzalez, who at that time was a Superior Court judge,
Steve Gonzalez,
agreed with us that because he specifically had a PTSD trigger that somebody was high, that it was okay to talk about this driver being high.
Okay.
So the defense lawyer was furious about that.
Yeah.
The defense lawyer hated me. So again, devious lawyer that I am, I don't want to say devious. Let's say wickedly shrewd. I thought to myself, okay, the defense lawyer knows that this is coming in. We just won this motion. His client was high, and the jury's going to know about it.
Yeah.
Right? So we start choosing the jury. Voir dire happens. And we get to opening statements. No, we're in the middle of voir dire. And this is when it was in person, so everybody's there.
Yeah.
We get almost to the end of voir dire. And the defense lawyer says, how many people are, this is before marijuana was legal, how many people are against people driving with marijuana? You're going to hear about this, and everybody raises their hand, or half of them. He deals with, so he's trying to neutralize this whole negative issue. And I never talk about it. Then my opening statement comes, and I never mention it. And then he does his opening statement and mentions it, obviously. And we're about midway through the trial, and he starts losing it because it becomes clear to him that I'm not going to mention it at all. I don't talk about it at all because I don't want to get some kind of I don't want there to be an appeal. I don't want to create an appellate issue by allowing that in, even though the judge said it could come in. So this defense attorney is the one that introduces it. Yeah. I was talking about it over and over again. I don't see anything. And he was arguing to the judge. He was super, super angry. He was shaking with rage. And he said, he was complaining about it. And he said, they head faked me. And I started laughing, right in court, because we did. Yeah. Just enraged. He was so mad. He knew after so much period of time that, he finally was putting it together, that we weren't doing it. And he was so upset. He lost it in front of the court. And I will never forget that moment. It was a highlight of that trial. When he accused us of fake head faking him. Yeah. Which is a basketball term.
Yeah. A head fake.
A head fake. A head faked.
Yeah.
They head faked me. They head faked you.
Okay.
That's an example.
Yeah. I mean, I got a lot of these.
Tell me some.
I mean, one thing I know is that I know from lawyers that I terrify them sometimes. But a good example is a lawyer who, I represented somebody at a hearing, and I told them I represent them for all purposes, not just a particular hearing. I was at that particular issue, that particular case, and I just sort of put that on the record because I knew the lawyer on the other side had a plan to go and approach my client after my case was done and try to do some investigation. So, lo and behold, that lawyer sent somebody to go talk to my client. And I knew. And I told my client, I told him exactly what to do. I said, when they show up, I want you to say, isn't Mo supposed to be here? And make sure that a record is made of it. And he did that. Then I waited. And the reason this lawyer sent that person to talk to my client became another case. And that case started. I immediately filed papers for a hearing, and I subpoenaed the lawyer. And the lawyer was a high-level lawyer at his office and rattled him. I mean, so that's an example of getting under somebody's skin. I set that chain of events into motion because I knew his shortcomings. I knew he couldn't help himself. That was incredible because all of the lawyers from that lawyer's office showed up to the courtroom, and the judge was like, well, he's going to have to likely testify. It was a very uncomfortable moment for the lawyer. That's one of the examples. The other one is that I've had a couple of lawyers quit their jobs because I forced them to have to confront who they really are and their hypocrisy, and I do it through the work. And it puts an incredible amount of pressure on them. For example, if a lawyer comes into a case and starts to take some moral position about their case or their client, I will take that morality and I will flip it upside down and beat them over the head with it until they give up. And I will do that nonstop, 24 hours a day, into the weekends. And so in the case in particular, it had to do with a senior official lying under oath. And this is somebody who was celebrated, and everybody loved this person, and I knew they lied. From the moment I saw the case, I know this person is a liar. And I dug deep, and I kept forcing them to come into court and defend this person's credibility. This lawyer came into court over and over again in front of judge after judge. And I knew from the beginning that this person was a liar. When I put it out, clear as day in the record that this person was a liar, that lawyer, the other lawyer morally collapsed, couldn't do it anymore, quit. That's what I will do. Like, if you get on my bad side, I will come for you. Like, I will come for you, and I will do it within the confines of the rules, within the boundaries.
Mo is way meaner. Just let the record reflect. Mo is way meaner than me. I am just like playing with it. I find great joy in irritating defense lawyers, but Mo is like seriously going to be out to get you. Just so you know,
yes.
So that there's no doubt here. Like, I'm the good one here. He's not the good one that you want to mess around with.
I mean, to me, it's like just like people who are like hypocrites. I can't stand hypocrites. Don't that drive you nuts? But like most defense lawyers are hypocrites.
So I started bringing emotion in all my trials. I have many emotions.
Yeah.
That drives defense lawyers crazy. One of them is to prohibit them from apologizing. Because what they'll do is they come out and they say, we are so sorry. They tell the jury, we are so sorry that this happened, but it's not our fault. But we're so sorry that it happened, but it's not our fault. And I'm like, it doesn't matter what the defense lawyer feels. We don't care what the defense lawyer feels. That's irrelevant. And I always win that motion. They cannot say that they're sorry to the client, that they feel sorry for the client. They can't say that. That's pretty much always allowed.
Well, how does that get under their skin, you think? You think they just don't...
because that's what they want to do. They want to do it, and you want to, like, not let them do it.
Okay, there's another way you get other people. First of all, this is like... I call BS. Where's my little... Like, I should bring that bell. You are cruel.
Oh, he got some.
Oh, you did? Oh, you did get a little toy. Yeah. Okay, you are cruel. First of all, I call BS. You are not like, let's make the record straight. But I have seen you. You are vicious.
I am vicious.
Okay, so, I mean.
But I take joy in it.
You do?
I don't do it, you were getting intense there. I do it because it's amusing.
Well, no, I'm amused by it, but at the same time, it's got to be intense. Like,
we have a lawyer right now we have a couple lawyers right now that we've been messing with.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I will say this. It may come across as messing, but like, Karen, they're being bad lawyers. And by the way, I hope the mediator doesn't think, like, I saw the mediator sent an email saying, Kristen's the bee's knees. I was like, I bet you I'm not. I bet you that message was sent because it was like, I am not that.
Yeah, Kristen's so good.
I don't know, Mike, do you think it's fair for lawyers to be subjected to what Karen and I described?
Yes, because they pull the same dirty tricks.
They do.
I mean, the one that I always remember was when you were going against John Henry Brown, who is a very, very famous defense attorney, like almost only a defense attorney.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he was doing stuff, and then eventually, you guys won that case. And if I'm correct, he, didn't really feel good about the way that he had performed.
No, well, that's the case. I've talked about this before, where he was super insulting to me, and I called up Ann Bremner, one of his prior wives, and said, this isn't funny. Is he being funny? She said, no, he's just being mean. And so then I figured, like, oh, and do you think that I caved? No, he was insulting me.
No, you drove him crazy.
He was insulting me. Oh, I drove him crazy. First of all, he accused me of age discrimination because I hit him at vanity, which he is super, super vain. And so I started hitting him at...
Did you call him an old guy?
I didn't call him it in so many words. It was all wordsmithed. But yes, I did.
See? I'm the mean one.
I hit him right where it hurt, like as much as I could. And so he'd say other stuff to me, and I just hit him right back.
John's a big boy. He can take it. Apparently not.
He really couldn't.
And he caved?
Well, no. But when you get to the trial, he hated me so much. If you talk to Farhad, who was there, what he would say is that the guy was trying the case against me.
Yeah.
He was so focused on me and beating me that he wasn't able to see clearly.
Yeah. Okay. That's, to me, is like a combination of like a defense. I think part of that's just outright discrimination. Like, the one thing with my experiences is that no matter what I did to these lawyers, they still respect me. Like, they still were like, you were just doing your job and you did it better than me and you like caused me this. I think a lot of
never for me. Almost that never happens with me.
Right? So like I think
they just think I'm irritating.
Right? Yeah.
And that's the way it should be, Mo. But it isn't a lot of the time.
Yeah, but that's not cool because like you beat him at his own game.
Oops.
You beat him at his own game, right?
That's Dan. What does Dan want?
You beat him at his own game, and then when you beat him at his own game, you know that he's like he's a sore loser. Like that's not cool. Like I don't. That's telling. They're telling themselves. I want to know is that have you ever gotten so far underneath a defense lawyer's skin that it's made them want to like give up the case and just be like, let's just settle. Like I just don't want to deal with you anymore. What do you want?
No
like,
one
does
would,
that ever happen?
No, not. It shouldn't ever happen in our fields. No.
Okay.
No, and plus, you know, we're not on a level playing field, and especially the longer my career's gone on, I rarely have a case against one defense lawyer. There's always multiple. There's so many of them, and the budgets involved in the defense are very large.
They're large.
Unlimited. So if one of them doesn't get along with me, they'll just replace them with someone else.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I do think that like this, there is like I'm seeing a differing. There's like types of lawyers, but then there's like a generational gap.
yeah.
Like I see like there's some lawyers I observe that cannot take. It's like they cannot take it. They cannot take the heat. The heat is too much. Like not even, you know, do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Maybe I'm not articulating.
My thing with I shouldn't say young, with newer lawyers,
Yeah.
I started noticing it maybe 10 years ago. I would often have more problems with newer lawyers because they were trying to prove something. Like, oh, I'm going to prove, you know, like I'm this big bad lawyer and they're going to prove that they can take me on. So, but that doesn't work at all because I do, you know, I do the snap.
Yeah.
I am vicious. I am.
Yeah.
But in a sweet way.
It is. You are very sweet. That's why you're velvety.
You've seen my letter writing.
Yes, it's very sweet.
Yes.
I will.
My letter write. This is how it typically goes. Dear defense lawyer, you are absolutely out of your mind. I don't know what you're saying. You are so dumb. I really hope you're having a great day.
Yes.
And can't wait to see you again. Love,
Yes.
Karen. I mean, that's kind of the formula.
But what's really funny, Mike, is that ever since I've been working here for a little over a year, is lawyers come up to me and they go like, what's it like working with Karen Koehler or the Velvet Hammer and and there's this like perception out there, and I just by the way, I sit back and I just go like, yeah, and like they don't like know, but these are the younger in the field, not age wise, but newer lawyers, and like, you know, thing is that like your actions in the public arena project an image.
Yeah.
And I think that like a lot of it is somewhat driven by that. And then you then come into a case, and then like this past weekend, she sent this, I read this letter, I'm like, I spit out the water I was drinking because it was like this like this eight-page letter to these defense lawyers. Literally putting in definitions and dictionaries about what words mean.
They haven't responded yet.
No. And I was just reading it. I go, what is this? And it was just like you were rattling them, and you were, you know, it was just, you did not use the words, but you said, you're dumb, you're idiotic. What did you write in your letter? It makes no sense. And you kind of just...
I just told you, that's my formula.
Yeah.
And have a nice day and hope you're having a great weekend. But you know, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I am disrespectful because you're working on the wrong side. And the whole point of the defense is to get my client's case thrown out. Like, they're the enemy. So I remember a long time ago where, really from my first job as a defense lawyer, the thought was, well, you must be very civil. You must be very cordial. And that's very, very important. And the judges always say, I hate fighting. I want people to be very civil. And then you go talk to your client, and they're like, why are you being so nice to them? Why are they being so nice to you? What's going on here? I don't understand. Aren't we in a war? And so there's this perception of our state bar, you can go Google it, that civility is an essential factor of practicing law. And I wrote editorials against that. Like there's a civility award, like they call it a professionalism award. It's a civility award. I will never win that award. I will never win the plaintiff trial lawyer of the year award from the defense bar because they're not my friends. I don't need to make friends. They're trying to destroy the client's case. And I'm not a ruthless, mean attorney. Like I can name off some that are really ruthless, mean attorneys. I have some defense lawyers I get along with really well while we do battle. But the title of my article on civility was "Civility but with Teeth." You know, I'm all fine with being civil, but let's not muck around here. They're trying to get my case dismissed on technicality or any way that they can. This interperson, they want to have nothing. They don't want their clients to be accountable. And I'm supposed to be civil back to them. Okay, I will be civil, quotes, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to bite.
I think that you can't, to me, this concept of civility, there's a couple of, I understand what it is. It's like the idea that you come into courtrooms and here's where we resolve our differences in a professional way. I get that, fine. But there's also a professional responsibility to be zealous and pursue justice. And those things, unfortunately, are uncomfortable and require you to force people to face some uncomfortable truths. And people don't like that, and it gets very nervous. What I don't like about this concept of civility is what you've just described, is going into a room and being like, you guys look like you're all in suits and you're all friends. Yeah. You know? And like, what does that mean for the people who are outside of this room who don't have the suits on? Which is like people who are like poor, people who don't have access to courtrooms. What that looks like is that the system is fixed. What I never liked when I walked into a criminal courtroom is where I couldn't tell who the public defender was and who the prosecutor was, because they're all sitting there kind of commiserating. And then you had people in custody in their jail garb sitting there, waiting for their lawyer to come talk to them. That disgusted me.
Thank you.
So I'm totally with you, Karen. I agree with you on that. Here's a trial. This happened in trials many times. So we tend to be technologically advanced because Mike comes and sets us up with all this machinery and we have all this stuff. You do save us.
The defense would either not use anything or they would bring in, you know, the $20,000 a day model of the professional person with the person there. But often they wouldn't.
Yeah.
And so we would put our stuff on. And then the defense would say, hey, whatever, Farhad or Kristen or whoever, you know, paralegal, whoever's running it, can you put up exhibit number 405? And I would look at him and say, I would let it be done once. And then I would say, take all of our stuff down now. And then they would, because I didn't want to get in trouble from the judge or by the jury saying, well, she's not being very nice, you're not putting up her stuff. But it's like, we're not your staff, we're not your secretary, do it yourself. Now that's what I would say, outside the presence of a judge, but I would never be that disrespectful in the presence of a judge. But I will do whatever I can to make sure that our tech is done, and if when they say, hey, can you put up exhibit number 23, I'm gonna be like, I'm not gonna even be listening to them.
Because they expect you to do it. Because that's like...
That would be the civil way?
Yeah.
Do it yourself.
Yeah, do it yourself. No, I don't know if I've ever seen you do that in live court. I think I have seen you do that in live court, actually.
I will never help them. I will never help them because our clients are sitting there watching this.
Yeah.
And I know people are like, well, you should be civil. And the judges will say it, like, you should be civil. I'm civil. Yeah. I'm not hitting anybody. I'm not kicking anybody. I'm not spitting. I'm not saying bad things. But you're telling me I need to be buddies with someone that's trying to destroy this client's case? Who said I had to?
No. Sorry.
But everybody does it.
I know a lot of people do it. I'm not into that.
Everybody. Most everybody.
Most everybody does it. And you know, it's like, I don't know what it is. It's like the need to feel like... The
bar says we're supposed to do it, and people just blindly listen to it and think, well, yeah, we should all be civil. really, why should we be? Because the thing that you said that resonates the most is the person who's seeking justice is coming into court and they're just watching everybody laughing and having fun together. And it's so, it just feels rigged, like, and unsafe. I'm in an unsafe situation here.
Unsafe space. Nobody has been able to articulate to me in a way in which I can say civility and zeal. I mean, go read the ABA opening statements. Our RPCs, they don't talk about civility. They talk about pursuing justice. They talk about zeal. They don't talk about this, everybody get along. It doesn't say that. So this is a made-up thing that, unfortunately, systems of lawyers have created in order to make themselves comfortable and control the legal market. Because it's their friends, and they have access to it, and they let people in and they let people out, and it makes it look like it's a happy little party. I don't want anything to do with that. I just don't. And I've done just fine, like, not doing that. Look, I'm part of organizations. I am all for being, like, giving back and participating. I'm not the kind of guy that's going to throw bombs and then just sort of, like, sit back and not do anything. I'll go and get involved, but this is what I am. Like, this is my personality. And... you know, so go. But
I remember my old partner Pat. He told me one of my favorite stories, which is he was in deposition.
Yeah,
and it was pretty heated. And there was other people obviously in the deposition. And at one point, another one of the plaintiff lawyers and one of the defense lawyers in the middle of the deposition were on the floor fighting.
Okay, that's a little ridiculous.
I never ever got to see.
I'm not talking about.
I would like to see
fisticuffs.
that. I would like to see that. I mean,
I would too.
That's just pretty funny.
I mean,
amusing.
I mean, just like
that needs to be in a YouTube video.
We don't need TV in the practice of law. There's so much amusing stuff.
That's nuts.
It's
I mean, they were on the ground, like getting after. But you had a lawyer chase you around the table.
That was not a lawyer. That was another client.
Another client. Okay, right.
The thing is for me, because I love the law so much, and I love how entertaining it is to me. I'm looking for those moments, and so. I am rightly accused of being a provocateur. I definitely am a provocateur. I want to, like, stab it and see what happens all the time.
And I think that's what makes you guys good lawyers.
Yeah.
Is you're willing to do that, and you're willing to play the game in such a way. Because, talking about technology stuff, it goes the opposite way, too. Most of the big corporations that we've gone against, when you go to the actual trial, they'll come in, like you said, with a company that they've paid a bunch of money to. And if you ask to use that stuff, then they tell you you've got to split the cost with them.
Correct.
Which 50-50. They are doing to our clients. Yeah. They know if you win, that money is going to get paid out of what we won.
That's a good point, Mike.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good point. It is a good point.
We've never really trusted them either, because, like, even I think in the Ducks, like, the switch wasn't working. They messed. That company that was doing it, they made mistakes that whole trial. Yeah.
But you use that to your advantage too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I think here's the thing. I think a lot of lawyers think like we do, but they don't talk about it openly, and they pretend to be civil. I just think that that's true. These are all just unmanifested thoughts.
I don't think so. I think that lawyers nowadays, with our bar associations, are taught that civility is the goal. Civility is something that everybody should try to achieve.
Is strip matter civil?
Strip matter is fairly civil, but he will, if you make strip matter mad, he will be extremely angry.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What about Kessler?
He got the dreaded Plaintiff Lawyer of the Year award from the defense bar, so I'm not going to say anything about Kessler.
Okay. How about the late?
Like, who would strive to get the Plaintiff of the Year award from the defense bar? Like, do you think who are they awarding awards to? Like, not that Keith doesn't deserve it, and he might have even been the first one. He's such a likable guy.
Yeah.
But, like, I want to be the evil one.
Okay. What about?
There's some people that are more evil than me. David Benninger. Exhibit A.
What about other women?
Yeah.
Other women who you respect lawyers that you would say are what you just described? Like,
they would mainly be defense
lawyers.
Yeah. Which maybe it's changed, but I am not. Yeah, I am an outlier in some ways because I have these, quote unquote aggressive male traits in this, quote unquote unaggressive male package.
Yeah, which goes back to my point last week.
It's confusing for people.
It's confusing for people, and it's hard.
Not hard for me.
Well, for me it is. I'm the minority in the office. There's not enough male energy.
Oh no, not the male energy again.
Male energy. Male energy. Male energy. Sorry.
You got to take that phrase out of your vocabulary.
I mean, you still dated, Mike.
But you see what I'm doing is I am provoking you.
No, you're really not. Is that my what? Love by Love. George Benson came up.
George Benson, because George heard me.
He heard you. He started playing off my phone.
No, but that's provocateur. That's yeah.
It's not even provocative. I just wanted to slap it out of you, but I just was trying to withhold it.
Okay. Yes.
Poor Mo.
Yes. It's like the Rodney Dangerfield. Like, can't get any respect at all.
However, going back and looping all the way back to our subject.
Yes.
I love what we do.
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
And one of the fun things is getting under the opponent's skin. It's very nice. And I'll give you another example. And I do it on just about everything. Lawyer wrote this morning and said, well, since we've been unable to get a date for mediation, we're going to bring a motion today to continue the trial because this is the last day that we can do it. And I sent an email back and said, well, you might not want to do that because you guys are the reasons why we haven't been able to get a date, and you may not want to look bad in front of the court.
Yeah.
And by the way, we just resolved the case set for May, so we'll do mediation any day of the week. We're available any day of the week in May for you to do mediation. So go ahead and bring that motion.
They did.
And we're going to make them look stupid.
Let's make them look stupid. All right.
Well, that's all for today.
Until next time.